What's on your mind? Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop. What do you think?
Oh, what do I think? That is the issue, but it's more about what do you think? I mean, if you were behind the curtain just a few minutes ago, you know I was throwing out a bunch of topics to talk about here today. Everything from AI being able to predict your death. It's frightening. To a White House timeline, to fired South Carolina election chief is now in jail. That's right. Abbeville and Ware Shoals got some problems going on there. Did I say the White House timeline? Oh, Braun Strowman. I wanted to talk about his eating show. What a great idea. But before I do anything else, I got to tell you, some of you may have picked up on the fact that I had a pain in my butt. Still have the pain in my butt, but I'm going to tell you what. I went to see Joe at your CBD store. And let me tell you what. This is a testimonial. I was in a lot of pain. Every step I took was very, very, very painful. And I had tried some of my typical ways when I have something that hurts. I've tried Salon Paws, a couple of Advil and keep on trucking. Well, let me tell you, nothing was really touching it. So I said, all right, I'm going to go see Joe because, after all, Joe knows what happens. And my brother swore by this cream. So I walk in, I kind of creep in there to see Joe. Joe goes, well, what do you want, Ann? I've got several different potency things. And I decided, I'll try the medium one. And so I buy the medium one and get my discount over there and to go home, rub it on. Seems to be doing good, but then it just didn't seem to last. So I go back to Joe, and I say, Joe, I need to get that full power, full strength one that you have over there for pain. And it's all about the cannabinoids, and all this stuff working. Well, I get that, and I massage that on the pain in my butt. It really made a difference, So I just want to say this. If you have pain, go talk to Joe and tell him Ann was talking about it on her show and give it a whirl. Now, the good thing about it is if one doesn't work, he will let you move it up to a different level. Here's what I say. Don't waste any time. Go right for the big gusto. Get the heavy duty. I will not make that mistake again. Although Joe had no problem in getting me the higher power, I'm just saying, the higher power, that is the one that is the pain killer. It kills the pain. So I'm still having a few issues, but it is tolerable. And I just wanted to say that your CBD, Joe Martin over there, go see him and tell him you saw me, right? You listened to me. You heard me talking about him on the radio. Good stuff, sure enough. So check it out. Your CBD, the cream for pain works. And then I gave some to a friend of mine. She was having, she told me, it's not going to work, Ann. I've got bone on my knees. I'm just trying to wait on having the knee surgery done. And I said, just here, let me put a little bit in a baggie and gave it to her. And then I had a couple of samples that Joe had given me of the medium. She took it home and I said, if you don't get anything with the medium, go to the high power stuff. She took it home. She tried the medium. She goes, Ann, this is amazing. So know what everybody else knows. That cream is the bomb when it comes to pain. So I hope you will check it out. Hey, I just wanted to know that I'm not perfect, but I'm so much better. I could hardly move earlier in the week, and now I am moving around slowly, but with purpose, and with not the pain I had. So hopefully in the next few days, this will be gone. There you go. All right. That was, yes, that was a testimonial for Joe over there at your CBD. Give him a call, go by and see him, tell him you heard all about it from me, Ann Eller. All right, now let's jump into some stories with some meat on the bone. I'm going to tell this story first because that was such a good lead-in. I don't see how I cannot meat on the bone. Have you ever heard of this guy, Braun Strowman? He is a WWE wrestler. I don't know how tall he is. Maybe he's almost 7 feet. He's really a tall guy. Weighs about 355 pounds, and I understand it is nothing but muscle. He is a beast. Well, the man really likes to eat. And this is not a surprise. So they've come up with this new show. It's on USA. I don't know where else it is, but it's on USA. And it's about him visiting restaurants and trying their food and telling them what he has to pick out one that he really likes. Well, so far, they have been to a couple of restaurants, and it is really amazing. He, of course, goes back to the kitchen, gives a little fist bump to the chef, and they talk a little chef talk. And then he proceeds to sit down, and they keep bringing all the food on the menu out, because that's what he always orders, all the food on the menu. So he orders this food, and then he starts tasting it, and he has to make a choice. Everything from, what was one that was his favorite at one of them? Turkey wings, delicious turkey wings. Went to Fort Worth to some barbecue places down there. Really got into the meats and how they prepared the meats and everything. Really makes your mouth water, with what that he's looking at. He likes spicy food. So he's talking all about it. Anyways, it's a fun show. Kind of reminds you of a lot of other cooking shows or travel shows, etc. But this one, basically, it's him eating food at all these different places. So check it out. If you ever see it come across, his name is Braun Strowman. And it's a big wrestler eating food. Wow. All right. Anyways, check that out. That's just a little aside. That's my critique of that show. And, of course, I'm going to got so much more. We'll move on. All right. So, somebody sent me this on Friday and said, Ann, you got to check this out. I didn't get to it on Friday, so I do want to talk about it a little bit. They've had a lot of conversation about the president rebuilding, taking down the East Wing, and then going to put a ballroom in, an appropriate ballroom, according to Trump. So they have this timeline, and on the White House, President Donald J. Trump, and it starts at the beginning and talks about all the things that have been added. The rebuilding, design plans from 1781 to 1800, rebuilding after the War of 1812, addition of the South Portico. It just goes on. Addition of the North Portico, and they show the renderings and everything. Addition of the West Wing. Addition of the Oval Office. Addition of the Rose Garden. Addition of the East Wing. Total reconstruction, and it just goes on and on. 1970 to 1973. Addition of the briefing room. President Nixon converted the swimming pool into the press briefing room and added a bowling alley in the basement. Then we go to 1998. That's all that happens between 1970 to 1973. We fast forward to 1998, and it shows a picture of Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky standing in front of the Oval desk. And that's in the Oval Office, of course. A nice picture, nothing salacious or anything, just the two of them standing there. Then it shows, that's 1998. Then fast forward to 2012, the Muslim Brotherhood visit. shows President Obama hosts the members of the Muslim Brotherhood, a group that promotes Islamic extremism and has ties to Hamas. The Muslim Brotherhood is designated a terrorist organization by nearly a dozen nations. This was in 2012, and it shows a picture, if you haven't seen this, a picture of President Obama. If you just see the picture on the top, it looks like he's dressed up. First thing I thought was, oh, he's dressed up as Santa Claus. Well, not exactly, Ann. He's got some Muslim-type costume on here, or garb. And so that goes on. Then it shows 2020, the tennis pavilion. And then in 2023, we have his son, Hunter Biden, laying in a bathtub. And it says cocaine discovered. We all remember that. That's recent history. Then it goes on to 2023, 2024, Trans Day of Visibility. The Biden-Harris administration hosts transsexuals at the White House in 2023 and goes on to establish the Transgender Day of Visibility on the same day as Easter Sunday in 2024. Yes, that was a day that brought a lot of infamy. Then, of course, in 2025, we show President Trump, North and South flagpoles, yes, and the Rose Garden renovations, the Oval Office renovations, and now the East Wing renovations, all duly authorized, duly appropriate, I guess we should say. Anyways, this is on the official White House website. Kind of funny, don't you think? Hey, if you got a question or a comment this morning, 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. Let's see, we all are getting comments coming in. Somebody just said, and this is probably a good point, I don't understand why he doesn't order Congress to go back to work. It is completely within his power to do so. Well, you know, that is truth. He can do that. I'm not really sure the answer to that question. Except if they were not going, I guess they could just come and sit there quietly at their desk with their hands folded. You remember how you used to have to do that in school? Well, maybe that's what they should do, and maybe they'd get tired of sitting there after a while, and somebody would decide to break down and break this, what is it, day 24, maybe day 25, 26, something like that of the shutdown. This shutdown is going to go down as the longest one. And who knows? Who knows? Maybe somebody wants to be able to say that we had the longest shutdown in history going on. Maybe it is something as simple as that. And while the American public suffers, do you know? And I know some of you out there are going to say, well, good. But there are people out there that really, really, really need those SNAP benefits, WIC, all these type of benefits. Well, we just heard this morning, I think you should have heard it on the news if you were listening on WCRS, that there will be no benefits in November for SNAP benefits. And we all know there's a lot of waste and fraud in there. But there also are people that really, really, really need these benefits. And there are already people who are not being paid, who are already visiting food banks and anywhere that they can find extra food. So this is turning into something that, from the Democrat perspective, I can't see how it ends well. I don't see how it ends well for anybody, truthfully. Do you see how anybody is a winner on this? Of course, and President Trump is now where? He's over in Japan, where, I don't know. Yeah, he's headed to Japan right now. He's out there on a big tour. He just left... President just left the country. I guess he says, well, there's nothing I can do here. No, actually, Ann, this was a planned trip. But I am just saying this is hard to believe that we have so many people that are depending on some of these benefits, and now these benefits are not going to be there November 1st. I guess on Halloween they could make instead of a trick, they could make a treat. I don't know what they have planned, but I do agree it is ridiculous that it has gone on. And what does that do to the timeline? Here's the other thing about this: if the Democrats drop their demands and decide to go ahead and pass the clean CR that would have been going on a month now. They have now telescoped the time that they have to work on things down to 4 weeks instead of 8 weeks that they originally started with. So they already are putting themselves in a box, and this, of course, has to do, there are several issues, but it does have to do with the health care. They do need to do something about health care. If they do not, this is going to bring a big crushing problem to a lot of people. So I'm not sure what the answer is. I know it is getting old. I know people are tired of the chest thumping and this type of thing. We want our government to work the way it was supposed to work, and instead we have nothing going on with the government except it is running out of money. I don't even think that they are going to be able to pay the troops. So this is the other thing. What will happen with the troops? Let's see. We had another message from somebody else here this morning. Let's see if I can put. Come on, come on now. We both know why. The same reason they haven't sworn in the representative from Arizona. It still is not a good look for our country. Sometimes in a negotiation, you have to leave a way for people to come out and feel like they've won, unfortunately, or that they can come out with some dignity, some respect, whatever word you want to call it. But it seems like in this case, both sides are at fault. Now, I know my true MAGA believers are going to say this is, of course, what we should be doing. Up to a point, I think it was okay. But now when you start seeing what's going to happen November 1st, do you want your troops not to get paid? I don't think they really know where they can find the money. They did find the money from some money that was appropriated for something else. But I'm not sure where they're going to find the money for November 1st. That's our troops. What about these air traffic controllers that are calling in sick? You got to take a plane? You want to go someplace for Thanksgiving or Christmas or something? You want to get in a plane? I'm not getting in a plane right now. And God bless any of you that are going out and getting in a plane. All right. So anyways, I don't know what the answer is. But sometimes in negotiations, you have to live, you have to give the underdog, we'll call it that, the underdog, a way out and a way to dignity. And so far we haven't reached there. But when people are not able to get their basic necessities, and on top of that, I was reading an article about the effect of people not getting SNAP benefits, for example, and how it will affect the economy, because they won't be going to grocery stores to buy things that they normally can buy with their EBT cards, what is going to be the effect on the economy? So we are fast careening into something that nobody wants. Now, from our Democratic friends, I certainly hope you would come to your senses and end this. Our Republicans, I know you have the winning hand, you think, but eventually this is going to hurt both sides. So please, get together. Come on now, get together, and let's have a situation where we can see things happening in a good way. Okay, now we have the same texter saying, this is my last comment. Oh, come on, don't give up. Don't give this up. People also need to consider South Carolina spends $223 million in food stamps. When that money is lost at the stores, this will be passed on to the consumer. Well, this is the problem. Yes, this is the problem. This is what I was discussing. How this is going to have a ripple effect on our grocery stores, etc. And all those costs that people are, the sales, the savings that we have because the EBTs, people buying stuff at the grocery stores, that makes costs be able to be lower because there's volume buying, etc., etc. So she says, the last comment is, this is my last comment for the day. This does not sound like America first to me. I kind of agree. We've got to put America first. We've got to be getting this together. Should the president have tried to meet with them? You know, the problem is it's all about the optics at this moment. It's not about the issue of people. And that is the problem. The Democrats want to show that they won. The Republicans want to show that they won. And so who is suffering the most? The American people. Enough said about the topic. I hope this week, by Friday, Halloween, that they will come to their senses. Somebody with a perverse sense of humor might see that as a way to bring people together. You know, slowly, one by one, but not enough numbers to make it in the Senate. There are Democrats that are falling by the wayside on supporting this. So, and then there are some Republicans that are saying no, they can't support this. All right. So let's move on, but that's kind of my conversation. That is a big topic for us. Now, here we go. Is that where I wanted to go, or is this where I wanted to go? They had a hearing last week. Was it maybe Wednesday? Justices question the meaning of per diem in the case over South Carolina legislatures raising their own pay. If justices strike the budget clause, legislators will lose their raise and regular allowance, but they could pass a new law next year. This is the question. Columbia, what exactly the crafters... See, this is going back to the Constitution in South Carolina. This has to do when they passed that $1,000 or $1,500 a month raise for them and called it in-district expense. On the radio, they're telling us that it's 10 o'clock in the city of Greenwood, and you are listening to WCRS Radio 98.5 FM, 1450 AM. And, of course, we are live on Facebook as well as on the radio, and you can stream at WCRS1450am.net. You'll also find a lot of all our Facebook Live shows on the website WCRS1450am.net. I think we've got a few to catch up over the weekend, but we will have it done hopefully by tonight so that you'll be able to go back. If you can also go to our Facebook page and see a lot of great content there. All right, so back to the story about Columbia, about the hearing in Columbia. They have finally had this hearing. Had to do where a lawsuit was filed on whether it was legal for the legislatures to give themselves a $1,500 a month raise. At stake is a lawsuit heard Wednesday by the state Supreme Court. It is $30,000 per legislator. The $1,000 monthly for so-called in-district compensation that the legislators have received since 1995, and the $1,500 a month legislators added to that monthly payment as part of the state budget. The 44 legislators, all Republicans who opted out of the raise, included Senator Wes Clymer of Rock Hill. After he sued to challenge the pay hike, the state's highest court paused all payments, so they're not getting their $1,000, and they're definitely not getting their $1,500 right now a month. So that's $2,500 a month in in-district expense until justices decide whether the $1,500 a month boost was legal. Ultimately, that meant legislators took a $1,000 monthly pay cut starting July 1st. See, when you don't do things right, this is what happens. They are not getting that since the 1st of July, which they'll collect in back pay only if the justices rule in their favor. Otherwise, they'll need to pass a new law just to restore their regular allowance. And that would have to be after the first of the year. The pay boost was inserted into the state spending plan during a, quote, late-night budget debate in the Senate, with sponsors arguing that inflation has caused expenses to increase significantly in the past 3 decades. So we've discussed this many times, but since 1990, state law has set legislators' salaries at $10,400 annually for the 5 months of the official legislative session. But their legislative duties require significantly more time and work throughout the years, attorneys representing the House and Senate argued. Justices recognize that, said Chief Justice John Kittredge. On the policy point, you'll get no pushback, Kittredge told the Senate's attorneys. It's just a matter of whether this was done through an appropriate and constitutionally proper vehicle. That's where the concern is. The concern came down to whether the payments qualify as the sort of compensation constitutional delegates in the 1800s prohibited legislators from raising outside of election years. So this is a serious topic that the justices have to decide what was the intent of the meaning. In the 1868 Constitution, which brought South Carolina back into the Union, used the word compensation. But the 1895 Constitution, which the state still operates under switched to the term per diem, literally per day. So it goes on and on, but the bottom line is to this. If this does not pass, they will have to pass another law first of the year, even to restore just the $1,000 a month that they were getting, and then have to do another law talking about the future payment that they'd like to get, and it would not be effective until the next legislation. So literally, that's a year that they could not get their hands on that $1,500 a month. I've heard some wonky things before on some of this, that it's not taxable, it is taxable, it's expenses. If they can't prove the expenses, then it has to go towards their compensation, and therefore that would be taxable. That's one thing I heard from a legislator. I don't know what is exactly the truth. I do know that going at one night because they found out they had all this extra money in the budget and putting $1,500 a month, literally a $30,000 a year raise, effective for July 1st of this last year, was ridiculous. So should it be put in there? Yes, should it be put in there for a future generation, future lawmaker, like 2027? Or should people be able to vote themselves a raise? That's really at the bottom of the question, but it also has to do what the Constitution says. So we will wait and see where they go. It says if the court throws out the clause in the state budget, legislators' pay raises and normal allowance both vanish for this fiscal year. If that's the ruling, Kittredge said, legislators could pass a new law when they return in January to reinstate their $1,000 monthly payment, then pass a raise in the next budget that wouldn't take effect until January 2027, pushing it past the 2026 elections. Nothing in the state constitution bars legislators from raising pay for the next General Assembly, attorneys for the petitioners said. So that is what the judicial has spoken. Now we're just going to have to wait and see where that goes and what decision the judicial branch of South Carolina makes on this case. What do you think about that? I know a lot of people have not really cared. A lot of people have said, well, they deserve it, this, that, and the other. Are we making this into a full-time job? That is the question. To raise their pay up to about $50,000 is trying to get it for other people to be able to take the job, which would be nice. But there is no way that somebody that has a regular job can take 5 months off their job and go be a legislator. And I also remind you, in Texas, their legislators get paid $7,200 a year, and only when they are in session do they get a per diem during those days. And if I remember correctly, Texas is in session every other year. So how can they do it, but our legislatures cry, we need more money, we need more money. We all would like more money. But anyways, I just wanted to give you a little update on that story. That is one story that I personally have been following, and was good to see it was not a pushover. The judges have some real thought process they have to go through. All right, so that story is in our state. Now, the stories that were in Sunday's Index Journal about what is going on in Ware Shoals and in Abbeville, actually, I think are kind of frightening. Now, a lot of people have weighed in about the guy who had to go to his dog's birthday party. Yes, it's true. His dog's birthday party. That was where he wanted to go. There's a lot of question about what was happening in this hiring of their police chief. They had a panel. I'm just going to try to summarize it as best I can. They had a panel. The panel was supposed to be picking the police chief. From what I have read about this, I believe I've got this right. The police chief the top-notch police chief, the first, not maybe the top notch, I should not use those terms, the police chief who was the number one pick of a panel that has been put together did not get the job. And evidently it came because the mayor came over and said that he'd like to see this other guy, I believe it was Police Chief Tommy Clamp, become the police chief. So they made that choice, even though Tommy Clamp was not the top person. The arguments that have ensued have been out of order, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Just totally out of order. And they are now trying to get some relief from the relief. They're trying to get some direction on how to handle these meetings. Number one, the gentleman who stormed out because he had a birthday party to go to for his dog is being admonished because he should have sat back down. But he said he was leaving. Public Safety Chairperson Kim Jensen and fellow council and Public Safety Committee Michael Power and Patty Walters confirmed that a four-member panel conducted interviews of police chief candidates. The three did not say outright who the panel's top choice was, but Jensen in this meeting stated, "We did not hire the number one panel's choice." The panel included Greenwood County Manager Toby Chappell, Greenwood County Council Chairman and District 7 Representative Theo Lane, Tim Walker, Sally Brown. Jensen and Powell were also in attendance for the interviews. The candidates included Tommy Clamp, Kenneth Sibley, a current sergeant with the Ware Shoals Police Department, and Martin Crane Jr., a fourth candidate, withdrew a third candidate, and then a fourth candidate, three. Martin Crane Jr., a fourth candidate, withdrew his application before the interviews took place, so they were interviewing three people. Jensen confirmed to residents during the October 13th public safety meeting that Clamp was not the top choice of the four-member panel that conducted the interviews in late September. However, on October 1st, Ware Shoals Town Council voted to hire Clamp as the town's police chief. As the October 13 meeting, Jensen acknowledged to residents that not all required paperwork, including certification and background checks, had been received prior to Council's vote to hire Clamp on October 1st. Jensen sat down with the Index Journal for a one-on-one interview, and that Clamp, because of background checks and certification verifications for all candidates, were incomplete. She says, "We are hiring somebody without a background without that being completed. That's extremely irresponsible and reckless in doing so. Regardless if you've known that person their whole life, you need to know who you're hiring." So, evidently, at the meeting that they were holding, I guess it was on October 1st, Jensen went to say she pushed for tentative hiring pending completed paperwork, but was overruled by council. "I wish we would have handled it differently," she said. Jensen and Chappell confirmed Mayor Brian Ross, though not a member of the panel, was present in the back of the room throughout the panel's interviews. Chappell verified the timeline and confirmed the panel's recommendations was delivered verbally after deliberations. We met September 24th to review questions, then September 25th to interview the three finalists. Chappell, this is Toby Chappell, right here from Greenwood. The mayor sat in the back of the room but didn't ask questions. Afterward, we came to a consensus and made our recommendation verbally. To best of my knowledge, there was no written report. Toby Chappell declined to name the panel's unanimous top candidate, but acknowledged the council did follow the panel's recommendation. So, according to this, afterwards everybody said Sibley, right down the line, Brown said, of when the panelist voices their top selection for chief. Then the mayor came up and said, I pick Mr. Clamp. We were all stunned. A list of interview questions developed by the panel assessed each candidate's management style, leadership approach, and understanding of department oversight. So the bottom line is, Brown said, one of the members of the panel, said Clamp performed poorly during the interview, failing to satisfactorily answer questions about the chain of command, the department's use of force policy, and his leadership approach. According to Brown, again, one of the members on the panel, this is an interview with the Index Journal. When the panel asked Clamp about the chain of command, he indicated he would make major decisions independently rather than seeking approval from the mayor or council, an answer that she and the panelists viewed as a misunderstanding of town hierarchy. He claimed he would have authority for everything, and that's exactly what got the last department in trouble, Brown said. We're talking about Clamp, the current Tommy Clamp, who is now the police chief. Every police officer knows you use the least amount of force necessary to make an arrest, but he couldn't explain that. It goes on and talks about this, but the bottom line, according to Brown, one of the board members or panel members, Clamp looked unprofessional and acted smug during the panel interview. He came in like he already had the job. Brown confirmed there were around 9 or 10 total applicants for the police chief position. She believes those applicants were denied equal opportunity for the position. We were made part of this sham, Brown added. Basically, what Brian Ross did was make a fool out of the process. At the very least, it smacks of corruption and was unethical. Brown said she felt like the panel's work and effort were wasted. We took this seriously. We thought it was a legitimate process, Brown said. Why did we have to go through that circus if he was already the pick? Brown spoke highly of Sergeant Sibley and the work he did while helping fill the void after former police chief Brian Lewis resigned over the summer. So, This is where this is at. Then they got a statement from the mayor, Ross. Ross confirmed he attended the September 25th candidate interviews at Jensen's request and sat in the back of the room during the process. He said he encouraged Clamp to apply for the position several times, citing Clamp's prior work as a safety coordinator for Ware Shoals School District 51, where Ross was also employed as a special education. The mayor is employed as a special education. I have witnessed firsthand his work ethic and relationships with the public, Mayor Ross said in a written response to the Index Journal. I did have communication with Officer Sibley as well, but only with town-related business. Ross said he struggled with the decision after hearing the panel's recommendation, but ultimately believed Clamp was what the town needed at the moment. I knew the direction of where I wanted the town to go, said Mayor Ross. I feel that the people of Ware Shoals put me in the position to do what is best for our town. We need someone like Chief Clamp to close the gap that we have between the public and our police department. Ross said he respected the panel's work but felt obligated to make a different decision. It then goes on and it goes on. But that's the nuts and bolts of that. And this is where we're at. So, what do you think about that? This sounds like a problem waiting to happen. I do know that they've been in touch with the rules of engagement. I know the guy who jumped up and said he had to go have a birthday party for his dog. Well, I think we can all understand that, can't we? But still, storming out after a meeting as a councilman was just not right. Kent Bowles interrupted a resident during public comment. Tension then rose when Bowles left the chamber mid-comment, saying he needed to attend a dog's birthday while criticizing members on the recent hire. Anyways, that's a story for another day. It has gotten lots of comments on Facebook. It's been posted everywhere. About having to go to his dog's birthday party, that was more important than you know what's going on. Anyways, that's where Shoals. Abbeville has their own issues. We don't have enough time to talk about that today. They also, just quickly, I'll just say, they fired the South Carolina election chief. He has now been charged and was in jail. In an article I was reading, he said he never even read the budget. He just signed off on it. This all has to do about equipment being purchased, voting machines, etc. It just seems to go on and on. I do not understand the breakdown that we are having with our political systems. What is going on? This just seems to be a way that people are just going crazy. Don't you agree? Don't you agree? I just find this absolutely crazy. So I just thought I would mention that this morning. I hope to have more time to talk about it. But the chairman of the State Election Commission did not read the agency's budget request, which included a payment he claimed was far beyond what the commission approved before signing off on it last year. Dennis Shedd has repeatedly said he and other commissioners thought voting machines bought last year. I mean, plus he's charged with spending some money he shouldn't have spent. Also, the gal that was his personal relationship interest that he had was also charged, although she was charged with placing a listening device, a recording device in a meeting, which was not ethical either. So while she has been arrested too, the chairman has also been is on a pretty big charge that he has been charged with. What is going on with government? What is going on with our country? I don't get it. Some of the things that are happening, whether they're how to conduct a meeting properly, and I find it kind of hard to believe. If a panel was sitting there that had Toby Chappell and Theo Lane as part of this, I'm kind of shocked that something wasn't said, no, you can't do that, or we need to take a recess, we need to go into executive session for 5 minutes and discuss this and get some legal advice, because they have really, in Ware Shoals, put themselves behind the 8 ball. These things are serious things that are happening. Our smaller communities certainly are suffering, whether it's 96, Saluda, even Abbeville, Ware Shoals, with what's happening over there. These things are very serious. We may laugh and think that they are funny within each incident, but overall they show a very big falling apart of the system. And that is, in my opinion, not a good thing at all. So, we're going to run out of time. I don't really have much more time to talk about it, But this is some of the things that we're dealing with. The shootings that are going on, there's still too many shootings going on. I just saw this coming across. 13 shot, 2 dead in North Carolina, mass shooting at a large party. That was mass shooting at a large party in rural North Carolina, left 13 people shot with 2 dead. This was outside of Maxton, a property outside of Maxon, located about 30 miles southwest of Fayetteville. This is in North Carolina, but we've had a lot of shootings here in South Carolina. What is happening to our society, I think, is part of the bigger question here. With that, I'm going to have to wind it up. If anybody has any other questions or comments here, of course, I always like to talk to you. I did want to get to this one story. What time is it? Oh, I'm out of time. I did want to get to this one story. We will have to discuss this tomorrow. AI predicts death better than doctors. What that means for the future of medicine. Oh my gosh. This is something that needs to be discussed. We will save that for tomorrow. We will use that as a lead story. If anybody has any questions or comments about that, please let me know what you're thinking. Also, if you are in need of some pain medication, if you have a sore spot on your back, if you have any of these things, please please check out Joe. I tell you what, I am so impressed with the with the cream that I got from him that I am will be forever in his gratitude, because I was not able to move very well at all. I have found, though, I do need to slow down a little bit and let whatever is wrong with me heal, and I am feeling much better, but I do attribute the cream, and a little Advil, to making me feel a whole lot better. In closing, I do want to remind you, if you are a veteran, the Valor program will be in Greenwood on Thursday. This is a really big deal. Free legal clinic for veterans and their spouses, which is another big deal. Thursday, October 30th, from 9 until 2. They'll do some basic services for you: basic will, living will, power of attorney. If you have another issue, I might still go for an appointment just to see if they could tell you the direction you need to go to get the help that you need. But it is at the Greenwood County Veterans Center, 106 Main Street, right there in Uptown Greenwood at the Veterans Center. For appointments, please call 864-450-9268. That's 864-450-9268. That is for this Thursday. As of Friday, they had a few appointments left. So please pick up the phone, call, get yourself an appointment. May not know this, but a will done in another state may not be totally legal in our state. So take and have your will checked or have a will made. A living will and a power of attorney are all things they can do for you on the spot for veterans and their spouses. Again, that number, 864-450-9268. That is going to do it for me. I hope you all have a great day. We got a great schedule. Tuesday afternoon, we are going to have Kelly McWhorter and Chip Tinsley on talking about America 250. And on Wednesday, Superintendent Shane Goodwin from District 50 will be here for his first interview on WCRS. Definitely looking forward to sitting down and chatting with him. That'll do it for me. Have a good one, everybody. Stay dry, stay warm. This is fall. Ooh, take it away, take it away. Let's see if I've got it, see if I've got show end. Here we go. The curtain is down, and we will cue the music, I hope. Bye-bye, everybody.